Hey, good morning. Could you hear me okay? Okay, good. So I had a funny issue this morning. Like I'm logged in to Zoom with the MIC account on my browser, but not on Zoom. I tried to unlog it, but no matter what I'm doing, it's logging me in still under MIC. So sorry about that. Yeah, I'm here. So anyways, yep. So I'm excited to hear about your weekend. I'll bet.
Is it better on the YouTube, guys, for the audio? We'll check in with the YouTube stream. But, uh, one sec. Steven, talk for a sec.
Yep. You guys hear me okay?
Okay, I think we're all good now. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties. Um, so pretty much the main issues were talking about, over trading, oversizing, lack of confidence. So that was a really, really great session. So thank you for everyone that attended. As you guys know, we are still running a Cobra Trading promotion. The big promotion is now ended. So now the main promotion is the same one that's in the Broker Talk channel, which is 30 days free commission, 30 days free platform, and 60 days live trading access. And then we will select 10 people to come to the New York Stock Exchange with me in July. So that's going to be a really, really special experience. So thank you, everyone that came to Texas. Um, it was an awesome, awesome time, and thank you, Cobra, for setting that all up. So, today, guys, let's kind of talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the Moody's downgrade. So, the thing about this Moody's downgrade, I think that the market is looking for any type of reason to kind of pull back and consolidate and take some profits. Let's be real, guys. The market has kind of rebounded 25%, pretty much in a straight line. And as nice as this is for longer term accounts and longer term investors, there has to be some sort of pullback and consolidation. So I don't think that the news of Moody's downgrade is as important as the timing of it coming in, where a lot of people are maybe looking to take some profits in the market and they find that this is a great reason to do so. Also, if you guys remember from the movie The Big Short, a lot of these people pay for these rating agencies to rate things, right? What was the quote? It's like if they didn't go to Moody's, they'd go to Standard and Poor's down the street, right? And pay them to get the credit ratings. So you never know. Maybe this could be someone that's really stuck short with very, very deep pockets, that went to Moody's and got them to do this rating. I don't know. That's just kind of conspiracy. But I think that the market is looking for any type of reason to pull back, take some profits, and consolidate. So we might see at least a short-term top in the markets is what I'm thinking. I think that we might see just a little bit of action. I think bounces should fail, at least in the short term. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on the Moody's downgrade. I don't think it's the downgrade itself that matters. I think it's kind of just the timing of it that matters. So yeah, the market's already reacting by going down, obviously. So that's that. Aside from that, let's talk about what's moving in the markets today. Obviously, we have PTIX, main hot stock runner of the day. Expensive locates, expensive borrows. So not really that interested there. Let's kind of get into the watch list. So the way that we build the watch list, we always look at the previous day's watch list first and build from there. So let's check out. Okay, so I guess no one posted a watch list on Friday, but I guess I'll just use Thursday. So IXHL. So IXHL, this is the one that had that offering midday. Penny stock kind of came back down. CLIK came back down. Lobo came back down. UNH, pretty big rebound on UNH. I think I saw an article out there that the CEO bought $25 million worth of stock, which is kind of crazy. So UNH obviously is a multi-billion-dollar company, hundreds of billions of dollars. That's not really our niche. That's not really our wheelhouse. So not really too interested in touching that. KDLY ended up rebounding, coming back. This one looks a little bit choppy. So all the stocks that were kind of moving last week, there's nothing really that's too exciting. So I'm going to kind of focus on the main ones today. So PTIX, main hot stock of the day. Main hot stock of the day. Borrows, very expensive. Likely going to ignore this stock. FAAS. FAAS, penny stock runner. As you guys know, penny stocks have been kind of hot lately in this market cycle, so it might get some momentum. So FAAS, penny stock runner. Penny stocks have been hot this month, so this may take some money flow today. HKPD, looking for a bounce towards VWAP to short. HKPD, broken stock, looking for a bounce toward VWAP to short. BCLI, broken stock, looking for a bounce towards VWAP to short. BCLI, broken stock, looking for a bounce toward VWAP to short. Thanks, Steve. Let me see TGL. TGL may be a nice bounce towards 250, 270, and 3. TGL 250, 270, $3 to short. AMST. AMST, this would probably need a really big bounce towards $4. So AMST needs a bounce toward $4 to short. Top W, I think this is a Chinese stock. So gonna probably ignore this. Chinese name, gonna ignore this. And that's pretty much it for my watch list, guys. Pretty much slow and steady. There's two hot stocks, PTIX and FAAS. There's two side stocks, HKPD and BCLI. And that's kind of where I'm going to be focusing my attention. While I was away, it looks like all of the tickets for Epic Universe got sold out. I just confirmed we have one ticket remaining for Epic Universe. So if you are interested in attending the Epic Universe event, Steve's going to be there. I'm going to be there. We have one ticket. So just direct message Steve to get that ticket. And aside from that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Steve, to kind of talk about whatever topic you've prepared, and then I will come back here when that's done. Oh, I think I just lost Steve. Steve, I think I lost you. So I guess if Steve is gone, while he's kind of reconnecting, kind of coming back in here, we can kind of talk about some of the advice that I gave the traders that attended that private dinner over the weekend. So we could first kind of start off with, discipline issues. So one of the questions was, I have kind of everything locked down, but I find myself being not really disciplined in my trading, I'm not taking off my losses too quick, or it could be whatever it was. So my suggestion for a situation like that is you have to have certain rewards and certain punishments for either sticking to your rules or breaking your rules. So for example, one sec. So for example, guys, if you are like, for me, my thing would be, if I stick to the process, I get myself a chocolate cake. If I don't stick to the process, I have to eat something healthy because I hate eating healthy, right? So without certain rewards and certain punishments, you're not going to learn your lesson. It's like if you touch the hot stove and you never get burnt, you're just going to keep touching the hot stove, right? So there has to be certain punishments and certain rewards, when you are trading to try to stay disciplined, so that's something for one of those problems. Another problem could be along the lines of like over trading or oversizing or something like that. And oftentimes, oh, Steve, are you back here?
I'm back.
All right. Let me just I'll harp on this one more time and then I'll kind of pass it over to you. What was I going to say? About, oversizing, over trading. So for me, what I've found, guys, is oftentimes the less size you take on a trade, the more money you're going to make, because you're less swayed by the emotional moves that these stocks make. A lot of these stocks make crazy, crazy moves to the upside, crazy, crazy moves to the downside. And what ends up happening is if you were too oversized, you kind of immediately panic yourself out of the trade before you even let the trade have time to actually work out. So what I find is that if you are oversized in a trade, you will be very, very, very detrimental and nervous and emotional in the trade. Your body's heart, when you feel your heart start to palpitate, when you start to feel nervous in the trade, chances are you are in the wrong trade. So use your body's natural reaction to tell you to wait a second, hold on, let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, I did not have that plum. So just stuff like that, guys. We all struggle with the same things every single day. But sometimes hearing it more than once kind of gives you that ability to make it stick. So, Steve, I'll pass it over to you, and we can take it from there.
Sure thing. And sorry, guys, problems. I apologize. I'm in a new. Try to get through this. I apologize in advance if there's any issues. Today, kind of piggybacking on what Alex just talked about, I want to talk about emotions. Things are going wrong. How you should fix it. So today's out of your trades and in check. So again, I'll kind of go off these notes I made and then feel free to chime in if you guys have anything or if you guys have any questions as well. So getting emotion in a trade starts with
I think you may be cutting in and out, Steve. I think you might be having some tech issues.
keep going, or you want to try it tomorrow?
I think we just try it tomorrow. Yeah, I think tomorrow might be better. I'm going to go make a coffee, guys, and I'll be right back.
Spot.
All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry, just making a coffee. I guess I could, while I'm here, guys, I could kind of talk about what else we talked about at the dinner. So if you guys missed it, I was in Texas over the weekend for the Cobra Trading private dinner giveaway. And the way that we kind of structure that private dinner is the same way that we're going to structure the private dinner in Orlando, which is kind of talking about an introduction to your trading, how you started, and then we kind of go around the table talking about what your biggest problems are as a trader and how we could fix it. So we kind of go around the room talking about each one's specific problem in trading, and then we kind of do a little bit of one-on-one work to kind of get to the root of the problem. So I talked about some of the problems that people have been struggling with. So while we got about 7 to 8 minutes here left, I'll keep talking about that. So another issue that I think that people were struggling with is how to get bigger on trades. So something that's really, really important, or before I get into how to get bigger on trades, it's what happens when a kind of like a losing trade turns into a winning trade, right? When you're fighting a stock and fighting a stock and fighting a stock, and all of a sudden your fighting ends up working out, right? And the stock ends up going lower and it goes in your direction and yada, yada, yada. So the way that I relate that, guys, is like when you are fighting a stock and it actually ends up going in your favor and you actually end up winning, it's kind of like you winning the lottery, right? You actually just won the lottery there. And the thing is, when that happens, you start to feel like you win the lottery every single day and every single time. But obviously that's not repeatable and that's not possible. So what I mention to people is like, if you create this bad habit of turning your losing trades into winning trades, where you're just fighting and adding and adding and adding, eventually you're going to stop winning the lottery. And the difference is, in this game, when you stop winning the lottery like that, your account blows up. So I always try to create analogies for these specific scenarios because I think that analogies are powerful ways to kind of relate these lessons. So, when you're fighting a stock, you have to think the odds are you're going to win the lottery. You think you're going to win the lottery? Probably not, right? Probably not. So that's something that I think is really, really just super, super, super important that you guys have to understand is like, look, I like when I get bailed out on a trade. I love that, when I'm able to thankfully, turn a losing trade into a winning trade, but the odds of that happening are very few and far between. And if you constantly bet on that happening, how many times are you going to win the lottery? So that's that. Now let's kind of talk about sizing and how to get your trades bigger. So this is another thing that a lot of people struggle with is how to make my trades bigger. I think the biggest problem is adding before confirmation. I talk about it all the time is like a lot of people think that to nail it in shorting is you have to get the exact top tick, you have to get the exact high of the day, and you have to nail the top. And to me, that's very, very false. You don't make your money in shorting by nailing the exact top. You make your money in shorting by shorting after the stock is confirmed. So my brain has been wired to say that if I see a death candle, if I see a rejection candle, if I start to see that the stock is broken, my mind automatically reacts to the fact that I should be adding. So I think where a lot of people struggle is when they see that death candle, they hesitate. They're like, oh, I don't know if I add, maybe my loss is going to get bigger. And if my loss gets bigger, I'm already on a losing streak. I don't want to get on another losing streak. But the thing in trading is like, it's all based on odds. So yeah, look, there's any type of probability that you might take a trade and you might lose money on it. But wouldn't you rather take that trade with the probability that, it's going to probably go in your favor? So we know that the death candle is very powerful. We know that once the stock confirms, it confirms in a big freaking way. And if that's the case, right, if that's the case, then if you are not adding when the stock is going in your favor, yeah, you may not be losing as much, but you are skipping yourself the opportunity of catching a really, really nice winning trade. So I think there's a lot of fear of losing when it comes to not adding on these trades. Whereas I guess my brain is wired a little bit differently. It's not fear of losing, it's fear of missing the opportunity. I would rather have the fear of missing the opportunity than have the fear of losing. Because I know that our strategy works. I know that our process works. So I would rather wait for that confirmation signal, wait for that thing to happen, because I know it gets me excited that actually my win rate is probably going to go up. Yeah, look, there's been times where you add and your loss may get a little bit bigger because the stock reverses, but of those times, there's more times where you add, stock goes in your favor, and all of a sudden you're making money. So that's why I try to practice what I preach by adding after a confirmation, after. Because worst case scenario, I could just get out at the top of the death candle versus looking for the high of the day or trying to top ticket. I got no idea where this shit's gonna stop. So those are just some of the lessons that we were talking about in the dinner, and obviously this was like a 3-hour dinner, so I tried to summarize some of the key concepts in 5 to 10 minutes, but this is the kind of stuff that we do at our private dinner. So the next private dinner coming up is in Orlando. So if you're interested, just message Steve. I think we have 6 spots left for the private dinner in Orlando. And obviously all of the proceeds go towards making the event free for everyone else attending. So with 2 minutes until the market opens, I'm going to probably end the YouTube live stream here. As you guys know, we do our live trading every single day. We kind of prep, we kind of plan, we get everything together. And then at 9:30 a.m., we trade live for our MIC members. So if you're interested in joining the live trading, just email us, Steven, RH1, at myinvestingclub.com, and it'll help you get set up. Other than that, coming into today, FAAS, penny stock, going higher. PTIX, trappy stock, doing its thing. I'm going to wait for HKPD and BCLI. And that's it, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to end the YouTube stream here, and we're going to get to live trading for MIC members in 1 minute.